Oppenheimer and several of his former colleagues from the Manhattan Project were central to efforts in 1946 and 1947 to establish restrictions on nuclear proliferation, which are still in force today. As the first chairman of the commission, Oppenheimer tried to discourage a nuclear arms race between the United States and the Soviet Union in the context of the developing Cold War, but these efforts were in vain, and a major nuclear arms race developed once the Soviets conducted their first successful test of a nuclear weapon in 1949. As news of the Soviet acquirement of a nuclear weapon reached the US in 1949, debate began within the government of President Harry Truman about the development of a hydrogen or thermonuclear bomb, a far more powerful nuclear weapon than the atomic bombs which had been developed under the rubric of the Manhattan Project and used against Japan in 1945. Oppenheimer and a great many other scientists who had contributed to the work at the Los Alamos laboratory between 1942 and 1945 were opposed to such a measure, arguing that such a weapon could not be used in any practical sense in warfare without causing immense damage and potentially triggering a nuclear war, which would wipe out much of life on the planet. In their petition to the government in late 1949, they stated that the extreme danger to mankind inherent in the proposal to develop thermonuclear weapons wholly outweighs any military advantage. Nevertheless, Truman pressed ahead and greenlit the new program in January 1950. Nearly 3 years later, in November 1952, the first hydrogen bomb was tested on an atoll in the Pacific Ocean. Ivy Mike, as the bomb was named, produced an explosion equivalent to over 10 million tons of TNT and was 450 times more powerful than the atomic bomb which the US dropped on Nagasaki in 1945. Despite the reservations expressed by Oppenheimer and many others, the Cold War was heading into the era of mutually assured destruction.